Hey guys, just before the video starts, a quick reminder that due to the changes to the YouTube partnership program, your subscriptions are going to be even more important than before. So if you appreciate or like the content, please subscribe to the channel. The faster we hit the 1,000 subscribers, the faster I'll be able to deliver continuous content to you guys. So now, let's move on to the video. Hey guys, and welcome back to Maple Syrup Tech. First of all, I want to apologize for the setup. We're not in the usual studio. This is a much more informal video than usual, just because there was some breaking news on the weekend that I really wanted to share with you guys who follow my channel. Basically, Nvidia announced a new graphics card to add to their 10 series lineup, which is the GTX 1050 3GB. And I thought it was interesting to look at the specs that were announced for the card, because I think it's going to really interest a lot of my public since we're a budget-focused gaming channel. Without further ado, I'm going to make the image a lot smaller on myself, and we're going to take a look exactly at the article that was covering the release of this GPU. So I just want to thank AnandTech, which is the releasers of the article. The article will be linked down below if you guys want the exact technical details that they released. What we're going to do today is we're just going to do an overview of what to expect from the card, and we're really going to be focusing on the table of contents that is right here. So without further ado, let's take a look at what the announcement is. First of all, what I wanted to really point out is we're really looking at the exact same GPU as the 1050 Ti and the 1050 2GB. So we're still on GP 107, so it's really the exact same GPU at its core. However, if we looked at the CUDA cores, we have the full CUDA cores unlocked, matching the GTX 1050 Ti, which is a upside for anyone looking at a budget option, especially since we're going to be expecting the 1050 3GB to probably be priced lower than the 1050 Ti. The second thing that was really interesting and on the positive note is that the base frequency and boost clock is going to be both higher than the GTX 1050 and 1050 Ti right out of the box. So far things are looking really up for this GPU. However, where it gets a little, iffy on the performance scale is that basically when we look at the ROPs, which has to do with the memory controllers, we're actually going down lower than the than the GTX 1050 2GB. There's only going to be 24 ROP units, and the overall memory bus is going to be reduced to 96 bits. So basically, as AnandTech has also concluded, what we can conclude is these are probably 1050 Ti's where one of the memory controllers didn't pass validation. So rather than chuck these chips or dispose of them, what Nvidia has done is they've released a new SKU where they can pass off the units that have only one default, faulty or non-validated memory controller, which is why you have a 96-bit bus, and overall you're going down in the ROPs available to you. However, at the same time, Nvidia goes on to announce that they're expecting the performance on the GTX 1050 3GB to be a 10% uplift above the GTX 1050, the basic model. So overall, everything's going to depend on pricing, because basically the GTX 1050 at MSRP is actually a really decent buy at 2GB. However, in some of the more recent games, I'm thinking of Fortnite especially, the 2GB VRAM buffer really shows up in certain really action-packed sequences. So the 3GB VRAM buffer is maybe going to be a decent upgrade or a decent purchase for someone looking at building a budget PC and that doesn't want to maybe launch into the 1050 Ti category. However, everything's going to depend on basically how much the memory bus is actually going to affect overall performance. So I'm looking forward. I'm actually going to try to get my hands on a GTX 1050 3GB for the channel. However, the problem is I no longer have my GTX 1050 2GB or my 1050 Ti, meaning that I'll have to get my hands on someone to get the most updated drivers and really compare them on an equal footing. But we'll look at that once they actually hit the market, which should be shortly from what we can understand. So overall, Nvidia has found a way to basically market their faulty GPUs of the 1050 Ti, which, by the way, every manufacturer does. It's nothing special. However, it further sort of, adds an extra SKU to an already very, I find, densely packed lineup. And all depends if you were going to be able to offer this one for MSRP. If it comes out at MSRP and it's around, I would say, $150 US, I would say it's a really decent buy, and it will be strongly. If it comes in more at the 175 to 200, it's going to be, in my opinion, a much harder sell for Nvidia, and we're probably better off, aiming right away for the 1050 Ti or an RX 560, which in my opinion is probably going to be the most comparable performance. Right now, an RX 560 sits in between the GTX 1050 and 1050 Ti, so I'm expecting the GTX 1053 GB to really hit that exact sweet spot where the RX 560 is right now. However, on average with a 3 GB VRAM buffer, it should help a little bit, and the really high core clocks is maybe going to make up some of the difference that the lower memory bus is going to, unfortunately, sort of, hamper this video card for. So I hope that this gave you guys a general idea of what to expect from the new GTX 1053 GB that's going to be launched. Like I said, if you want the exact technical details, I do advise you go take a look at the AnandTech's article, because they really go a little more in depth into explaining the exact impact of having a slower memory bus and whatnot. But at the same time, I think for budget gamers, since finally MSRP prices are getting normalized, this could be a really interesting entry into the lineup. And we're going to keep a close eye on the channel on this new release, and if I can get my hands on one pretty early, we're going to do some actual benchmarking and testing to see what we can expect in really popular games. So as usual, I hope you guys liked this article. If you liked getting this type of last minute news release video, let me know in the comments down below. I'll try and do more when I get my hands on a decent article. And without further ado, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.